Adobe Captivate, many of you already know, helps you create stunning e-learning courses in minutes. So today, though, we're going to focus on the best practices for authoring assessment questions using Captivate. And we are delighted to welcome back our friend, Dr. Pooja Jaising, who is in Bangalore, India, and practically swimming in the torrential rains there. So, Pooja, welcome back to Training Mag Network.
Thank you so much, Gary, for that nice introduction. And yes, the rains are beautiful. I feel like going out and literally swimming in the water. But I have this wonderful audience here, and I would love to spend time with all these amazing people. Gary, before we reach here, can we just bring up the poll questions so that we know uh, what type of questions they like? Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. So there's one more question, and we can have both of them here. Let me know for what percentage of your e-learning courses do you add a quiz? Is it like all the time or 80%, 60%? What is, preferred number of courses you add quiz for? And also for your most used type of question. So just answer that. I can see multiple choice is a clear winner, and it has a lot of reasons to be the clear winner. We do use other questions, but I've seen that mostly about 70-80% of our questions are multiple choice. So thanks for answering that. So we have 38% who say they use the question or quiz for 80% or more courses. Thank you, Gary. And the second one is all the time, which is 28%. So I would say most of you are using questions and quizzes for your assessments. That's a really good thing. Gary, you can take away the poll questions, and we can proceed with the session. So yeah, how about multiple choice plus chat? So go ahead and put the other type of questions, and we'll get to that question one more time after a few slides. But for now, let's get started. And the reason we are talking about best practices for authoring assessment questions in Adobe Captivate is because assessments are a great way to know if your learners have fully understood the content. So if you want to know that, assessment is the right thing to do. Okay, so let's get started with it. And what I've done is I am not going to talk about the best practices for just the tool, but we will also see some of the best practices for writing those questions. There are some things that we ignore sometimes or not aware of, and let's talk about all of that. And when I'm discussing that best practices, if you have a similar view or a different view, do write in the chat pod. Let's keep it, make it interactive, and share all our expertise for all these years we've been doing ID and e-learning design and development. So let's begin with the best practices for item writing. And the first thing that I ask myself when I'm writing an assessment is, what's the purpose of this assessment? Why am I creating this assessment for the course that I'm creating? Is the course enough, or do I really need to assess the learners for something? So here's a question for you. Do you ask such a question to yourself, or do you add assessment to every single course that you develop? Or and if you add an assessment, what do you get out of it? Is it for testing your learners' understanding? Is it to award some scores to them? Is it a mandatory requirement from compliance? Or is it to add some interaction to the course? Is it for some corrective feedback that you want to give to your learners? Or is it for measuring the course effectiveness of your course? What is the reason that you use the assessment for? Just write and let me see what everybody has to say. Molly says in healthcare it is a regulatory purpose. Perfect. Yes, that's a very valid reason to use an assessment. Testing learners' understanding, their learning understanding, knowledge checks. Use it to test for understanding on complex topics. Yes, that's a very good use case. So I would say that when you are beginning to think about adding assessment question, this is something that you should ask yourself every single time you are getting on the journey of creating an assessment. So if it's useful, go ahead and add it to your course. If you feel there is no need for an assessment and you just need to add a simple interaction to have that interactivity element added to your course, go ahead and do that instead of testing your learners. So James has a pretty good answer here. Gauge if learner has achieved the objectives. Amazing. That's really good to know. And Deb, reinforcement, very important for us to check out. So first, ask this question, and then create an assessment only and only if the answer is something which is valid. So this is something that you should definitely check, and then think about the types of questions that you're using, and these questions should be purposely selected, I would say. If you have say you want your learners to recall something, then fill in the blank is a good question type. If you want them to identify something or recognize something, maybe have a multiple choice question. If you want them to locate something, maybe have a hotspot or a marker type question. If you want them to match something, have a matching question. Or if you want them to sequence some steps, use a sequence type of a question. So it depends on what is the type of activity that you are trying to do. It should not be that for every single question that you have to write, you have to use a multiple choice, unless it's a regulation. So when you're creating assessments, and if it's I would say a competitive type of an assessment, there sometimes there is a requirement that you can use only multiple choice questions and nothing else. So if that is a thing, then you don't have a choice. But when you get a choice and you can use any of these, you should definitely think about what you are trying to test and select an appropriate question type. Any Gary, any questions that I've missed here?
People are talking. Actually, Pooja, people are talking about hotspots and hoping that you will talk about them in a while.
Definitely. I will show it to you when I talk about the tool. And hotspots are really good when you want to identify a portion of the image, like especially useful for maps, or if you're showing a part of a machinery or a car and you're talking about those parts and you want them to identify that particular location. Hotspot is a great way to do that. Okay.
Fantastic.
So great. Okay, so let's move forward and talk about objectives. And you should never lose the sight of your objectives. When creating an e-learning course, we all create objectives. I have stopped adding objectives slides to my e-learning courses, and I've replaced that with scenarios or something more interesting opening, which covers the objectives subtly, but I do not have an objective slides. But as a part of the planning for the course, objectives is the first thing I write. And you need to base your questions on the objectives that you're writing. It should fulfill the objectives that you have set out for that particular course. How many of you agree with me? Like, we should always have questions that adhere to the objectives. Jennifer, yes. Rose, yes. Absolutely. I can see everybody is saying yes, and it's definitely required. So let's do a small exercise here. And here's my objective, which says identify the benefits of exercising. Here I've stripped out the main part of it, that after completing this training, the learner will be able to. We all know that. So I've just kept the objective starting from the action verb, and rest of it I've just removed because we all know about it. So what type of questions will you write for this? What will be your question stem, I would say? Usually what I do is when I'm writing a question, I just take the same action verb or similar action verb and write it. State 5 benefits of exercising. Perfect. Select all options that provide exercise benefits. Perfect. And what are the benefits of learning? Amazing. So all these types of questions will fulfill the objective that you have set out for your course. So and one objective can have multiple questions also. It doesn't have to be that you have to write one question per objective. You can write more than one, but at the end of the day, it should fulfill that level of objective that you have written. So all these questions, perfect. And we have a drag and drop as well. That is great, Janice. And let's move on. The next one is calculate the returns of your investments. So this is more of application based question. So what will be the question that you will write? Do you need to give more information? Do you need to add more details? What will you do for this objective? Little more criterion based, yes, that will definitely help. Create a scenario. That's the best way to check. Give them a situation. And here's the next slide where I have written a scenario here. John invested $500 and earned $50 in a year from it. What is his return on investment? So you get to see what is the use case here and what is the situation, and then based on that you write it. Now, there is another question here, which is a valid question. What is the meaning of return on investment? It's not a wrong question. I've put a cross on it because it doesn't correspond to the level of objective that we have. The objective says calculate. Here we are just asking meaning of return of investment. So you can have both these questions in your assessment, but the first one is more important than the second question. So always make sure you match the cognitive level of the objective and create things like that. Okay, so let's move on, and we will talk about the next one, which is avoid tricky and out of syllabus questions. As I would say, trainers and teachers, and doing this for our living, we always feel that let's take this up the notch and let's ask a question which is a little more trickier. But I would say for your e-learning courses, stay away from tricking your learners because they're far away from you. You will not you will not get the pleasure out of it, and you will not have an opportunity to talk to them and then give them the correct answer. So this is great if you are in the class and you're just asking a question to have an interaction with your learners in the classroom. But for the e-learning course, avoid tricking your learners, avoid out of syllabus questions. Whatever is covered in your course and whatever is related to the objective you have set out, your questions should only ask that, nothing else. Okay, so that this is one thing that you should definitely make sure you do. Another one is use familiar terminology. Whatever terminology you've used for your course, same terminology should be in the questions. It should not be something different, and you should not ask or tell any new information in the questions. The quiz should test what they have learned in the course, and that's all. You should not add any more, introduce anything new in the quiz. Add a variety of question types. So when you are creating a 10 question assessment, don't keep everything as say multiple choice, or everything as true and false, or everything as match the following. Mix it up. If you have the opportunity, there is no restriction. I created a certification course a few years back, and there was a limitation there that you had to use only multiple choice questions. There was no true false allowed, no matching allowed, no sequence allowed, nothing. So in that case, you can't help it. If it's a rule, you have to adhere to it. But as a creator of your e-learning course, if you have the liberty to use more than one type of question, go ahead and do that, and introduce different types of questions in your assessment. That will add a little variety, and your learners will also feel good about it. Now, there is one question that you should minimize the use of, and that is true and false. Why do you think we should minimize the use of true false questions? Let me know in the chat. I would love to know. What do you feel about true and false question? It's my favorite type of question. It's very, very easy to write. So you can just take a statement from your course. put it as a question, set it as true, false, and true is the correct answer. It's the easiest way to write it. So yes, you all are right. There's 50-50 chance of learner getting the answer right. And as an author, it's easier to create a question for which true is the correct answer. So if somebody goes and takes a test and there are 10 true false questions and he answers true for all the questions, he will pass the test because they've already got it. And if the person, the author, is not careful, chances are that the questions with the true as an answer will be always more. So try to minimize the use. If you want to use one or two, maybe to make it a little more easier for people, go ahead and add it. But if you have time and you have the patience to create more questions, I would say switch to other types of questions rather than relying more on true false questions. So that's one thing that I always try to keep in my mind. Another one is vary the difficulty level of your questions. Have a mix of easy, medium, and hard. Don't keep it too easy or too hard or just medium. Try to cater to all the levels that you have, and try to include every type of question in your course. Don't make it too easy or too hard, because if the questions are outliers, then everybody will either get it right or get it wrong, and it will not help you understand how much your learners have gained from that particular thing. And Dennis, thank you so much. I love it too. Okay, let's move on. And the question, make it readable. It should not have different, as we discussed earlier. Don't let it have terms which are foreign to the person. Other than that, keep it short and sweet. Don't add extra fluff. Don't make it tricky. Don't make it out of syllabus. All of that we discussed. Avoid using humor in your quiz, in the e-learning quiz specifically, because again, your learners are far away from you, and they are trying to answer a question which can be a little daunting task. Taking a test is never a good feeling. So make it easy for them. Don't use humor, and try to avoid cultural references if you have a global audience and you are trying to create a quiz which will be available or will be taken by everybody. Apart from that, avoid complex sentences, ambiguous terms, and of course steer clear from slangs, so that your assessment is good. I use humor for feedback. What are your thoughts on that? If the topic is light, it's okay. It's okay to use a little bit of humor, and you're trying to be a little more funny with that. It's fine. But in the question, while they're answering the question, let's keep the humor a little on the side. That's what I would say. Feedback, it's fun to read those funny feedbacks. So yeah, you can do it, and anything in moderation is always okay. So go ahead and do that. Then you need to provide clear instructions. So before they take the test, they should know what is it that they are going to deal with. How many number of questions are there? What is the passing score? Is there any time limit? Do I need to finish answering all these questions in say 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour or 5 minutes? What is the time limit that is there? Let them know about it. Let them know how many attempts they are allowed to make. Any other quiz setting that you have enabled, you need to inform your audience and make it as descriptive as you can, so that they know what they have to deal with. Okay, Gary, any questions I've missed?
No, but a lot of great comments about using humor or not using humor and so forth.
Uh-huh.
Just people really building on what you have said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I would say humor is good in the classroom, but that too in moderation. Some people really don't relish it, and some do. It's a great topic for discussion, and I believe Dr. Alan Partridge had done a session a couple years back on the importance of humor. I'll have to dig that recording, but he had some really good comments on that.
I'll see if I can find that, Pooja. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, let's move on. And the next one is let's talk about the anatomy of a typical question. So let's talk about the terms that are used for a question, and then we will talk about the best practices for that. So the first is this sentence that you see here on the top. This is called the question stem. This is the first and the main part of your question. And then these four are your answer options, okay? Or I should say options. The correct response is called the correct response. And the other ones, these white ones you see here, they are called the distractors because they distract the learner from selecting the correct response. From all these parts, distractors are the most difficult to write, and we will discuss more about it in the coming slide. So I'll just move to the next slide, and let's talk about first the best practices for writing the question stem. If you have any feedback or anything that you have to talk about question stem, please write in the chat and let others know about what you think should be included in the question stem. So first thing is, don't provide any clues in the question stem. So when you're writing your question stem, it should be a logical question and your options should logically answer that question. If you provide clue in the question stem, it will be very easy for people to guess what would be the correct answers. So distractors are also referred to as options. Yes. So all the options, let me go back. So here A, B, C, D are called options. C is called correct option. A, B, and D are called distractors. So they are also called options, but options will include the correct option also, as far as my understanding goes. Okay, so let's move on and avoid incomplete sentences. This is very easy to do, and sometimes I would say it's okay to do as well. But if given a choice, try to convert your incomplete sentence into a question. Like here, meteors are commonly known as. Instead of saying that, we can say, what are meteors commonly known as? It's all about restructuring your sentence and converting it into a question form, because it's easier for people to answer a question than to complete an incomplete sentence. It's how we think, and it's like if you see a question, you will immediately go and try to look for an answer. But to complete an incomplete sentence is a little more, I would say, the brain needs more RAM space to process that. So try to avoid that. But there are times when we can't avoid that, and in those cases, try to keep the blank either at the end of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. Do not keep the blank at the beginning of the sentence. That's a complete no no. That will put more pressure on your brain, or the learner's brain to respond to that answer. So when you have a blank, keep it at the end. And again, just restructure the sentence. So here it says blank is the second nearest star to Earth. The second nearest star to Earth is blank. So we just need to do some change active to passive, passive to active, or do whatever to bring the blank to the end of the sentence or to the middle of the sentence, rather than starting the line with a blank. So try to do that when you are writing, especially the fill in the blank questions, and you need to use an incomplete sentence. And then choose to stay positive. And I always say that be positive in life, and uh, write your questions also in a positive fashion. Do not use negative and double negative sentences in your questions. So something like, what is not the correct value of pi? It is very easy to write that, right? Because you can put the options that you feel are negative and add that. And but it's always better that you write positive questions, unless it's difficult to write for that particular question that you're writing. Try to avoid negative and double negatives in your questions, because anyways, the learners are stressed. Let's not add to their stress by adding all this negative connotation here. Okay, let's move forward and ask a single question at a time. Do not add two questions. Ask only what are meteors commonly known as. Don't ask what are meteors commonly known as and why. split it into two questions. Create another type of question with it. If your objective is more broader and you want more responses from your learners to determine that they have achieved that objective, create two questions, create three questions, no problem with that, but ask a single question at a time, so that they can concentrate on answering that question rather than answering two questions at a time.
Pooja,
uh,
I
yes.
have a single question for you. May I ask it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Grace had a good question. She said, our industrial organizational psychologists prefer the format of an incomplete sentences and insist that answers be in alphabetical order. What do you think of that practice?
If it's a preference, I don't know, but I feel it makes it a little difficult for people to answer than having it in a question form. That's what I feel. But there is a lot of research out there. I would really recommend that you see the book that Patty Shank has written. Gary, if you can paste the link for oh, you have it here. So you can definitely look at her book. She's included a lot of research that has gone into writing assessment questions, and she's put it in plain simple words for us so that we can take a look at it and see what the research says. So I would recommend go and read that book. And there, for everything, there will be mixed views, there will be different things that are recommended. So I would say go through it and take a judged call or something like that.
I'll put the link up for Patty's written many books. We have Patty
Uh-huh.
doing some webinars coming up, by the way. I put the link to that here, but here's a link to Patty's many books, and
Yes.
so you can all find those as well. Thanks, Pooja.
Thank you, Gary.
Mhm. Onward.
Great. Thank you so much. Let's move on. And next thing is provide context and necessary information in the STEM. Here's where the scenario comes in place. So add all the details that are required for answering the question. So give everything that they need. When I write a question, I always keep it in my mind that a longer question stem is always better than longer answer options. When you add all the details in the question stem, your options will automatically become smaller because you've added all the details in the question stem. Deanna, I didn't understand. We organize distractors from the length. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good way to do that because then you don't have the longest one as second or third. And usually people feel that if it's a longer answer option, that might be the correct answer option. So this is a good way to distract it. Okay, let's move on. And the next one is get rid of all the fluff. And in the previous one, I said provide context and necessary information. But if there is anything unnecessary or it's very wordy, reduce its size, make it crisp, make it short and sweet, and get rid of all the fluff, all the things that will distract the learners from answering the questions, and keep your question stem sweet and short. Okay, let's move on. And this is a very, I would say, important one for me, and something that I would say recently started following since last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. Before that, I did not know this, and I used to just write questions by saying select all that apply or select all the correct options. Now, all over here can mean that one of them can be correct, two of them can be correct, three can be correct, four can be correct, or all five can be correct. That makes your questions very, very complex for the learners. They don't know. The probability of them getting the question right reduces a lot. So mentioning that you have to select three correct answers is very important. If there are three correct answers, mention it in the question stem. Make it bold, make it caps, make it underline, whatever you want to do, but let them know that there are three correct answers. So when you are writing a question, if it's a multiple choice single select and there is a multiple choice multiple select, the multiple select automatically becomes a little more harder because you are choosing more than one option. So to make it simple, simple for them. If you really have to use multiple choice, multiple select, then write 3. And then sometimes in the end also I say select the 3 correct answers so that they know. Julie, it can, anything is better, but just mention that they have to select 3 best answers. So as long as you tell them, it's fine. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about best practices for writing the answer options. And everybody, thank you so much for putting your thoughts in the chat. I'm sorry I'm not able to read through all of them, but after the session, I promise I will go through all the best practices that you have shared here. It is wonderful that you guys are contributing. So keep doing it for the rest of the session as well. And I'll move forward. This is also one of the very important things, that you have to limit the number of answer options. Just because you have the answer options and you've written them, it doesn't mean that for each question you will write like 5 options and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and then expect your learners to choose the right answer. Try to keep the number of answer options less. I would say 3 to 5 is a good number. And the rule of thumb that I follow is keep so one of the answers is the correct answer, and have 2 distractors. So for a single select question, 3 answer options is more than enough. You don't need to specifically have 4 answer options. So your number of correct answer options plus 2. Plus 2 is the rule that you should follow. I'll just write it in the chat. You have to do a plus 2 of distractors. So if it's a multiple choice, multiple select, and you have 3 correct answers, so your number of options should be 5, which is 3 correct answers plus 2. So 2 distractors you should always have, so that they have a good number of answer options to choose from. Let me know in the chat, what do you think about this rule? Do you think 2 distractors are good, or do you think there should be more? Let's see. Yeah, I can see a lot of people typing. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, when I started writing questions, I thought 4 answer options is required for a multiple choice question, because that's what have been seeing it while taking the school tests and the college tests and all. So I had an idea that, okay, we need at least 4 options. But then after reading the research and going through all these things, I think 3, 4, 5 is good. Anything more than that is too much to expect from your learners. Okay, thank you so much for contributing. Let's move on. Next is make the options visually equal. So the length, try and keep it equal. I know sometimes it's difficult to keep it of the same length, but as far as possible, keep it equal and try to keep the options as short as possible. Don't keep them too long. As I said, the stem should have all the required details, and the answer options should be equal in the length. And Karen says grammatically equal to, absolutely. And all these options should actually answer the question that is written in your stem. So do that. Next is write plausible distractors. It should not be like a giveaway that you're just writing a distractor for the heck of it. Don't do that. Just write plausible distractor, so that if the person has not read the content or has not gone through the content that you have taught, they should not be able to guess it. Okay, if they have gone through it, they will be able to answer it correctly. If not, then every distractor is a possible correct answer for them. Okay, so write plausible distractors. Each option should logically answer the question, and we just said that. So whatever question is there, it should logically answer the question that is placed in the stem. In the handout, you will have all these questions to look at, so feel free to download it and take a look at it. And then one more thing, there should be a clear winner. You should not have distractors which are partially correct. That's not something that we should do. It should either be correct or incorrect. So the correct answer should be completely correct, and the distractors should not be anywhere close to the correct answer. Okay, let's move on. And next one is randomly distribute correct responses. So while we are writing our assessment questions, the tendency is that we keep answer B or C as the correct answers. That's the usual thing. So it's very easy for the learners to guess and select the B or C. And we have a tendency not to keep the correct answer as A or D. It's a natural human thing that we do. So try to randomly distribute your correct responses. If naturally you are writing it at the B and C location, later on go and make changes to it. Just push them as A, B, or C. So it should be a random distribution. Just write it on a piece of paper, the responses that are there, and see is there any pattern that is being formed, and try to disrupt it. Next is if you can't randomize, just shuffle the options. So in most of the e-learning tools, including Captivate, you have the option to shuffle the answer options. Do that. But there are cases where you should not shuffle the answer options, and that is when the options need to be in a particular order. So if there are years, or if there is it's numerical, or it's chronological, or it's some order that it's following. In that case, do not shuffle your answers. The answers option should be the option should be in the correct order that is required. Okay, let's move on. And here's my favorite: steer clear of these options. All of the above, none of the above, both A and C, both B and D. This is not something that you should be using in your questions at all. In any situation, do not use this. If you have the urge to use all of the above, convert your question from single select to multiple select. Yeah, Janice, all of us are guilty of it, and we should just stop doing it. So if you feel there is a requirement for all of the above, convert it to multiple choice, multiple select question, add two distractors, and then write select three correct options. None of the above, whoever adds to their questions, none of the above is rarely the correct answer. Because if you have taken pains to write the question and then you write all of the above and none of the above as the fifth option, it's rarely the correct answer, and the learners know that they will never select the none of the above answer option. And both A and C, both B and D, again, just use the multiple choice, multiple select, and do not use these options at all. Okay, let's move on quickly to talk about best practices for writing the feedback. And feedback, you should provide useful and timely feedback. If the question is for remediation or for testing the understanding of the learners, give descriptive feedback to the learners, and then give them a chance to take the question again. And the feedback should be given immediately. It should not be like you have a 50 questions assessment, or 10 question assessment, and the feedback they're getting after attempting all the questions. It should be timely if you really want them to make use of that feedback. Okay, for quiz, you can just say that's correct or that's incorrect, or something like that. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. And before you proceed with authoring, review it well, so that you don't have to make any changes in the authoring itself. So let's move on to best practices for authoring assessment in Adobe Captivate. The first thing is begin with setting the quiz preferences. And Gary, I would like to share my screen. If you can switch to that, thank you so much. And I'll just switch between my slides and Captivate here. So let's talk about the best practices for authoring assessments. And as I said, begin with setting the quiz preferences. And quiz preferences, you can open Captivate, go to quiz, and select quiz preferences. Here, it will show you the quiz preferences. The first one is for enable reporting. This is something you do at the end, okay? But what you need to do is settings, okay? Settings here here it will give you all the options that you need to set for. This is mainly information that goes into the learning management system, the name, ID, and all that stuff. Here's the option: if you want to shuffle all the questions in your quiz, you can select this option, and it will be applicable to all the question types which allow shuffling. Okay, I'll just say no here, and then you can add a clear back and skip button if you want. Otherwise, you will just see submit button in your course. You have other options like review mode and submit all and all that stuff. So all these options you should look at first. You can do it later also, there is no problem with it, but I would say this is a good place to start to check what you want to do. Do you want to hide the play bar when the quiz is on? Do you want to show the progress of the quiz, or you want to show a scorecard at the end of the quiz? If I check this, there will be a result slide automatically added. What should be the passing or failing grade? What should happen when they pass? So what action you want to happen, or what should happen if they fail? uh, what should be the default captions that appear for the quiz? So when the correct answer is there, you can change it here. So what will happen is you don't have to go and make changes in every single question. This is a global change that will happen before you even start writing your question. And this is a good place to change captions if you are creating quiz which is in a different language. So you can just translate and keep the translated text here rather than translating every caption that is appearing in your quiz. Okay. So make sure you do that. And once you click OK, those settings will be applied, and you can see that the quiz result slide is automatically added. So this is the first thing that I do for writing my quiz questions. The next thing is style the question master slide. So if you go and create a new blank project, it will create a question, sorry, a project for you which uses the default theme. Now, this default theme, if you go to the master slide, you will see that every question slide has a different master slide. So what I do is first I work on the theme of that particular quiz, of that particular course. So for this course, this is the theme that I've used for my slides. So if you go to the master slide view, you can see that I've already done this. So I've put the title bar here. Let me just reduce the size so you can see it. You can see that there's a top bar that I've added. There is this mask kind of a thing that I've added. There is a image that I've added. So I've styled it so that it looks the same as my other slides. You can see I've just added all those components. I have changed the look and feel of all these things. So do this before you start adding your question slides. Okay, styling is very, very important. Another thing you can do is, if you don't have time and patience for designing, you can pick one of the question slides from the assets panel. So you go to the assets panel, and here switch to quiz, or just type question, and the slides that are already designed here will appear. So here you can see there are some of the slides which look pretty good, and you might want to use it. So like this one, wired one, which has this nice design. What you can do is you can insert it in your quiz, sorry, in your course, and then make any changes that you require for this particular slide, and then start populating. So maybe you don't need this image that is here. You can replace that image with something else and take it forward from there if it's like has a darker connotation. So make use of the assets panel and use the slides from there. But I would say style your question slides before you get them inside Captive. Oh, sorry, before you start adding questions. Other than that, make global changes. So use master slides as I showed you. Use object styles. So Captivate comes with object styles. Each object has its own object style. So make changes to it, use it, and then whatever questions you add. So if I say duplicate this question, okay, And if I go and make any changes to this text, so instead of Arial, if I want it to be say all round Gothic, and I want this to be say 24 points so that it's more visible, I can go and save changes to the style. So I'll say save changes to existing style, and then when I go to the next slide, you can see this change has been applicable on both these slides. So I don't have to go and do it again and again. Make use of these object styles to make any changes that you require in your question, rather than doing it for every question that you are adding. Okay. uh, Gary, any question before I move forward?
No, I think we're good, Pooja. Go right ahead. We're running out of time here.
Okay, great. I will move right ahead. So there are three types of questions in Captivate. One is a pretest. If you want to gauge the understanding of the learners before giving them content. So suppose you have, say, a module which is a beginner's module and an advanced module, and you want them to go through the basic or advanced based on their previous knowledge. You can add a pretest to your course, and then based on the score, you can direct them to the branch that you want them to go to. That's pretest for you. Then you have another one, which is knowledge check, which is more like checking the understanding of the learners. It's basically not scored. It's just to give them practice, just to give the check if they have learned everything well so far, or give them some interactivity or something like that. And the third one is question slide. This is a quiz slide which is scored, and the score is passed to the learning management system. So pick the question that you want to add, and you can just go to the quiz section. Question slide is the slide that you can add as a part of your quiz. Pretest is the pretest question, and knowledge check is. So if I add a knowledge check question here, you will see that there is a little difference in this question. Don't mind the let me just change its layout. Okay, so here you can see I have this quiz preferences, and in this there is no place where I can put the score, or there is nothing for learning management system reporting. So if you go to the normal quiz question, which is this one, you can see there is points, there is penalty, and there is a section for reporting the answers. So you need to use knowledge check questions only when you don't want reporting to take place. Okay. Let's move forward. And there is another option in Captivate, which is submit all. So if you like, by default, when you have a quiz, Captivate submits the answers for each question, one question at a time. So once you answer this question and click submit, it is locked. You cannot change the answer again for that particular question. You have to retake the entire quiz for that. But if you don't want that to happen, and you want them to go through each question again and review it and change answers, you can. There's an option in the quiz preferences which says submit all, and let's open the settings, and then there is submit all. So when you do that, the submit button changes to submit all, and then it will freely allow the learner to go back and forth between the questions and change their answer option whenever they like. So this is more like that competitive exam that we have, and the learners are allowed to do that. So if you don't want the results to be submitted after every question, just use this simple option, and it will allow you to submit all the answers at the same time. Next is partial and negative scoring. So let's take a look at that. I will just change this option so that it goes back to submit. Let me just go back and disable that. Okay. I will remove the submit all and click OK. And now what I will do is I'll show you the negative scoring. So for each question, you will see there are penalty points. So if the answer is not answered correctly, question is not answered correctly, you can set a penalty point. So if I say a penalty point of say 4 marks should be deducted from the total score, you can set that over here. Okay. There is partial scoring also. So for like multiple choice, multiple select, this is the question, and you want to assign each option with a different score instead of awarding 10 points for all 3 questions selected. But if you feel that even if they select 2 answer options, they should get some points, you can do partial scoring. So select partial score, then select each option and go to the options tab. Here you will find points given. So if you feel the first option is very important and you want to give more points, so give it 4 points. Then this one, place the monitor in front of a window or bright background. Uh, Not too bad. Maybe you want to give it a -1 if they select this incorrect answer. Encourage her to take regular stretch breaks. Yes, very important. 4 points. Adjust the brightness of workplace. Maybe 2 points. Okay. And then encourage Adrian to work for longer hours. That's a very bad answer. So say -4. Okay. So it will allow you to have those individual answer options to be set for sorry, the scores. So you can see here for one of the incorrect answer option we had set as -1, and the other one we had set it as 4. So it's total of 5, and total points is 10 because we set 4 for this, 4 for this, and 2 for this. So based on what they respond, they will get score, and you can use partial scoring for these questions, and that will make it a little more easier for the learners. For large number of questions, use the bulk import options in Captivate. One is import gift file formats, and the other is CSV file format. GIF file format is an XML file that you can import in your Captivate project, and CSV is a CSV file, and you can import it in your project. And both those options are available here, so you can make use of them for like if it's a 50 quiz question or a 20 quiz question, or you are adding random questions to your course, you can do that using this. Modify the success and last attempt action. So by default, when you add questions, Captivate gives a continue action, and continue makes it a little slow. So let me just go back here, and we'll go to this question and go to quiz. Okay, let me add a new question from here. So I'll go and add a question slide, a multiple choice, and you will see that it adds continue as the action. And if you look at the timeline, the pause point is at 1.5 seconds. So either you reduce the timing of the question to 1.5 and let it be continue, or what you can do is you can go to quiz actions, and here in actions, instead of continue, you will write go to the next slide, and it will immediately go to the next slide. Otherwise it feels to the learners that there is a little slowness or there's a glitch. It's no glitch, it's just covering this remaining 1.5 second, and then it continues to the next slide. So if you don't want that to happen, change continue to the next slide. And with that, thank you so much for talking to me today. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me on LinkedIn. And let me bring up that slide here. You can just connect with me or follow me or have a conversation with me. I would love to do that, and I would love to hear from you. With that, thank you so much. And Gary, over to you.
Great. Well, Pooja, you had asked that we have some polls ready for folks at the end here. So everybody, please just direct your attention to the top of the screen there. And if you could give Pooja your input on those polls, then we'd appreciate it. And I want to remind everybody to please vote for Adobe Captivate if you are an enthusiastic user. I assume most of you are. In the choice awards, I'm just going to launch that page on your desktops for a moment, but you can minimize that tab or and just go back to the polls and so forth if you like, but you'll have that up on your screen when you're ready for it.
Gary, I like the all of the above option. Great, great.
I'll just change here because I want to thank Adobe Captivate for making it possible for Pooja to join us today and bring us this great session. If you need any information that we saw fly by earlier, well, then thank you. Just let me know in the chat. And we do have a couple of questions, Pooja, if you want to go ahead and answer these.
Sure.
Okay, great. Eric Miller asked if partial scoring is possible with drag and drop.
With drag and drop, no, it's not possible. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because drag and drop is a custom question, and with the submit button for drag and drop, no, it's not possible. It's only possible with multiple choice.
All right. Great.
Mhm.
Well, thank you. And then here's a comment from Susan, and she needs a little direction here on maybe some resources that she can consult. She says, my challenge is to create a Captivate course with assessment that reduces server latency as much as possible. Once my courses are entered into the Oracle LMS that we use, they're subject to pressure from server latency, and I need to reduce this as much as possible. Where can she get some technical assistance on that?
Sure. So, Susan, what you can do is you can reach out to Captivate Help at adobe.com. I'm just typing it. Uh, and some of the engineers can help you with that. This should not happen. Maybe there is something happening in your file, and they can help you fix it. So just write on this email ID, and one of the engineers will help you.
Great, thank you, Pooja. I knew you would come through. And then Rajmi has a question too. He says, "Drag and drop. Using drag and drop, the feedback disappears after some time. How can you keep it as long as the learner is on the slide? Is there a way to do that?"
Yes, there is a way, Rashmi. There is, I think, there is a drag and drop timing. If you nudge that timing, it will let the feedback stay. There are some things that I had done. Can you write to me, and I can help you with it? I'm just sharing my email ID. I know there is a trick to do that. Just write to me, and I'll help you with it.
Okay. We also had just a comment from Athens, but I wonder if you have anything to say about this. Maybe there's something hiding there that we need to know. I'll put it on the screen for you. Athens says, I've heard of some technical certification exams that have changing response values, increasing the difficulty as the quiz goes on. Any
Mm.
anything like that available?
Ah. So what you can do, Athens, is you can create a custom branching in your own quiz, but you will have to do it as an author. So based on the response that they are selecting, you can branch out and give them more difficult questions and all that stuff. But that's something that as an author you will have to do. Captivate will allow you to branch out based on the answer that you're selecting. And you will have to select the advanced answer option, and from there you can branch out. It is possible, but it's a little author intensive work, I would say.
Ooh, Narani has a great question too. I can
Uh-huh.
imagine that a lot of people have this question. She says, now that Flash has gone away, I have to go back to previous Captivate projects to update them. Any idea how I can update them quickly and easily? Huh.
There is no quick way. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, Nurani. You have to go and you have to republish as HTML5. I'm so sorry for that, but that's what you will have to do. You will have to remove all the traces of Flash, and thankfully most of it you can just republish as HTML5 and it should work out of the box. But if there are some like rollover elements or some Flash elements that you have added externally, you will have to remove that and replace that with HTML5 compatible options.
I can imagine that by the time somebody gets done doing that, here comes another standard that we have to change to.
Great.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've answered all the questions. Athens says thank you. She was responding to somebody else's question. But anyway, I didn't get that, but thank you. And it looks like, Pooja, do you know the date, the next session we're going to do?
No idea. Priyanka
I
will have the
will.
idea.
I have it here. You know what? It's going to be on May 11th. Going to be on May, but we don't know. Maybe we know the topic. Hold on just a second. I think we just set this up this morning. And hang on, everybody. I'll let you know. Oh, this is about everybody, ensuring everybody can access your Adobe Captivate courses. So, are you going to be doing that one, Pooja?
No, I don't think so. No, no, no,
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give everybody the link to that. Oh, this is going to be the Diane Elkins one. Yeah.
no. Hmm.
And so let me give everyone the link to that. You can go ahead and register now if you like. We just put this up. You're the first folks that have found out about this. So here you go. Thanks, Priyanka, for sending that over earlier today. We were in a little bit of a rush, so we didn't get that information out as quickly as we might have. There you go. Christopher, thank you for coming. Everybody else, thank you so much for joining us today. You are welcome to share the link to the recording. And I'm just going to point out again that the page where you'll find the recording is the same page where you log in for the webinar. We just update the page so that you don't have to keep track of so much. So if you'd like to share the link to the recording, you can just give people this link that I'm putting in the chat right now. And in about 2 hours from now or so, then they'll be able to access the recording from that. Okay. Great. Thank you, Rajmi, and everybody else. Good. I'll leave that open so you can put more comments there for Pooja and I, but I will turn off the recording.